Today's session is being audio taped for the Rural Institute Transition and Employment Projects Resource Library and also for the Rural Institute PLUC Online Transition Toolbox. And the last slide of our presentation will have the website addresses for both of those sites. When you sign out of today's webinar, you will receive a very short survey. I think there are only 8 questions. It just asks you about today's training session, what you found helpful, suggestions that you might have for future webinars, etc. And we ask that you please take the couple of minutes that it will require you to fill out that survey and get it back to us. We really value the input from everyone who attends the webinars. We do read through all of the survey responses. And so again, please take the time to fill that out at the end of the session. We're supposed to have 3 speakers today. Unfortunately, one of them was not able to make it. Danielle Dorman will not be joining us today. So we have Isaac Baldry, who is a Rural Institute Consumer Advisory Council member, and he is also one of our best presenters, so I'm really excited to be able to co-present with him today. And then Kim Brown, myself, I am your other presenter. We'd like to start out with just a couple of short polls, so let me put those up to find out from you a little bit of information. So the first question is, have you ever posted something online that you wished you hadn't? And so go ahead and take a minute and we'll see your answers to that. Whether you've ever posted something online that you wished you hadn't posted. And the votes are coming in. Okay, we have about 3/4 of the votes in. It's looking at half and half right now. About half of you saying that yes, you have posted something online before that you wished you hadn't, and about half saying that you hadn't, that you haven't posted something online that you wish you hadn't. And now the yes is climbing a little bit higher. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close that poll, and the end result was that 56% of you said that yes, you have posted something online before that you wished you had not posted. And that's actually low. When you ask Internet users, you generally find the number is closer to 70–75% or even higher. So it's really common to have posted something and then think, oh yuck, I wish I hadn't put that out there. Okay, the second question we had for you is, if you want to remove something you have posted online, you can just delete it. And this is a true or false question. So the question again is, if you want to remove something that you have posted online, you can just delete it. Is that true or false? Okay, and it looks like all of you are saying that that's false, and that's absolutely correct, that it's false. And we'll talk about that more during today's presentation. So thanks for participating in the polls. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So if we ask the question, how many of you go online, I would expect that everyone today for sure would say yes, because you're online right now. And I see, let me shrink this a minute. We're again having problems apparently with black boxes on the screen, and we should not be. So let's try this one more time. Okay, again, the fact that you're on today's webinar means that you are online, but people go online now for all kinds of other things: shopping, searching for information, connecting with friends via Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all the different social networking sites that are out there. A lot of us work online. We may even telecommute for our jobs. There are more and more university classes that are available online. There are some university programs now that are completely online. People watch movies on services like Netflix, which involve video streaming online. Listening to music, there are all kinds of radio stations out there, playing games, emailing, etc. So a lot of us spend a great deal of time online. And we also often encourage other people to go online. So if you are a teacher, for example, you may give your students assignments that require them to research information. And in the past, they probably would have gone to the library to do that. Now they're probably going home to the computer and searching for information online. When they're writing papers, creating PowerPoints, you may assign them to do videos even. And those are all things that they're probably doing online. Again, there are more and more college classes that are online. They may have discussion boards that they're asked to participate in as part of a college class. A lot of our agencies and places like the Rural Institute have websites, and our information that we expect people to access is available primarily through those websites. And when we're out working with young people talking to them about transition, one of the things we commonly do is give them a whole list of website addresses or URLs and suggest that they visit those to learn about vocational rehabilitation services, to learn about workforce services, to learn about what's available for housing. So we're constantly suggesting to people that they go online. And then there are also a lot of products that these days you can only purchase online. And so people are doing lots of shopping, and Isaac will cover that in more detail in his presentation. And the picture that I have on this slide is of a high school website. And this is where students and parents are expected to go if they want to read the school newsletter, if they want to find out what's on the lunch menu for that day, if they want to look at the sports schedules for the different sporting events that the school offers. So again, we're asking people to go online. When we do that, are we making sure that they have the skills, the tools, the resources, the know-how in order to go online safely and in order to not disclose information that they might not really want to disclose? So today I'm going to start by giving you some SMART tips, S-M-A-R-T. And after the webinar recording is archived to our website, we'll include a little half sheet of paper that summarizes these SMART tips in case you want to have that available as a handout for yourself, for students, for people you work with. So the S in SMART surfing stands for scam-proof yourself. If it seems too good to be true, it is. And some of these things may seem really common sense, but remember that if you're working with young people or if you're a young person yourself, you may not have had a lot of exposure to the world and to the kinds of scams that are out there. And the internet makes scamming so much easier for the people who want to engage in this stuff. All they have to do is put up a website, plop out an ad, and they can send it around the world in an instant. And so we really want to make sure that people are educated about what to look for. If it looks too good to be true, it is. Is there really a job out there that's going to pay you $750 a day for sitting at home? Probably not. So help people learn, help young people learn how to filter this information and how to recognize what could be true and what's most likely a scam. Couple more examples of scams and phishing, which is where scammers, people who are unscrupulous, are out there trying to collect lots and lots of email addresses from you so that they can send their scam emails on to more people. So here's one that many of you have probably received if you have email at work or at home, and it says your email box has reached its maximum limit and you need to follow this link in order to activate your account again. And if you follow that link, you are essentially providing the crook information about your account, and you're confirming that it's a live account. So they're able to steal information from you. If you have if you have email through your job or through your school, you will have an IT or a technology network for your school, and they'll let you know if you are having problems with your storage limits. So if you get a message like this, don't trust it if you don't know who it's from. You'll often also see PayPal security alerts, and again, these are scams saying we need you to go into PayPal and make sure that everything that's happening on your account should be. Actually, all they want you to do is provide them with your PayPal information so that they can access your account illegally. A couple more examples. You get the emails asking you to send a certain amount of money to somebody who's overseas, or you might have even an email that comes to you and it looks like it's from somebody who you know, a friend or a family member, and it might say that they've been caught on vacation in another country, their purse was stolen, they desperately need a small amount of money from you to be wired to them. And because it comes from somebody you know, you might think it's legitimate and want to send them the money. but it's actually a scam. Somebody has stolen their email address and they've sent this email to everybody in that person's email address book. And so whenever you get emails like that, or if you're working with young people, coach them that whenever they get emails like that, they should make a phone call, check it out, make sure it's legitimate. Another type of scam that people engage in is using services like Craigslist, where things can be sold online, and they pretend like they're selling furniture, or they may have an apartment for rent or whatever, but they want you to send them the money ahead of time, and then they say they'll provide the furniture or the product that you're ordering. Those are scams. You send them the money, you never do get what you thought you were purchasing. And again, as I'm going through these examples, they may seem really common sense to you, and you may look and say, well, I would never fall for that. But remember that if you're working with a young person who's never lived on his or her own, they're transition age, so they're getting ready to transition out of high school and go out into the world and maybe live in their own apartment, they will be looking for furniture. They will be looking for an apartment to rent. They will be looking for employment. And so they will be very susceptible to scams like this, or they may be very susceptible. And part of what I believe our responsibility is to teach them how to sort through what's legitimate and what's not. The M in Smart Surfing stands for monitor. You want to monitor any of your online accounts that you have. Make sure that other people aren't accessing them. So if you have online banking or credit cards, for example, go in on a fairly regular basis and make sure that you don't see unusual activity on your account. Monitor how much you're using your accounts. Monitor your privacy settings. Do you have them set so that only the people you want to see certain information can see it, and not the whole world? And then never give out your password. The other piece of password information is not using the same password for every single account that you have, because if somebody's able to figure out your password, and you usually have access to every account you have, all of your banking, all of your email, your social media sites, they have access to everything just by knowing your one password. So be very cautious if you're ever asked to share your password with anyone. The A in Smart Surfing can stand for a couple of things. It can stand for ask. So remind people that if they ever see something they aren't sure about or that makes them nervous, they can ask. I do this all the time with the technology expert at the Rural Institute. When I get an email that I'm just not sure about, it looks like it might be real, but I'm not positive, I ask. And he's always very good about saying, no, that's just a hoax. No, that's a scam. That's someone fishing for your private information. Or he might say that's a legitimate email. That usually doesn't happen, because if I'm asking him if I'm feeling a little suspicious about it, it usually is a hoax or a scam. A can also stand for antivirus software, and making sure that people have that. If you're accessing the internet at work, it's very likely that you have a firewall through your place of business and that you have antivirus all set up. But a lot of times people at home don't have that set up, especially young people. They don't really think about it as an issue until they get a virus and their computer starts slowing down or stops altogether. And those things can be very expensive to fix. Sometimes they can't be fixed, and you lose all of the information that was on the computer. So making sure that you have good antivirus software. There are some cautions with antivirus software, and there are some hoaxes that go along with it. So this is a hoax, a Microsoft Windows malicious software hoax that actually came through on my computer a couple of years ago. And it also sometimes comes by way of telephone. You may get a caller who says that they're from Microsoft or Dell or another trusted computer company, and they say, oh, your computer has been compromised, we can see from here, and we can go ahead and remotely walk you through fixing your computer. If you do that, they will walk you through the steps to allow them to actually take remote control. They could be sitting in India, they could be sitting anywhere in the world, and be able to manipulate things on your screen in your computer once you've allowed them to do that. And there are legitimate reasons why sometimes we want to let people have remote control of our computer. I have a person who fixes my computer remotely from time to time that way. She's based out where she can come in and take control of the desktop, fix what I need to have fixed, and she never has to come to my office. But these people are trying to take remote control of your computer so that they can go in and steal the information that you have housed on your hard drive. So if you see a message like this and it pops up out of nowhere, don't click on next, don't walk through it, because it looks very real, but it's actually from Microsoft. And this photo of same kind of fake antivirus warning. This one says that your computer is infected and it wants you to go through this process of cleaning the computer up. But actually what they're doing is planting the virus if you follow through with their steps to quote-unquote clean it up. That the cleaning it up process actually infects your computer. So when you see windows pop up like this, close them. There are also some hoaxes out there that they're not designed to steal your information, they're not designed to plant viruses on your computer, but they are designed to tug at your heartstrings, perhaps to get you to send in money. This is one of the most famous hoaxes of all time, and I always enjoy sharing this one because it caught my daughter several years ago, and it gives me something to tease her about still. But they claimed that people were raising kittens inside of glass jars so that the kittens could grow to be the shape of the glass jars. And of course it was ridiculous because the kittens wouldn't have survived. But they created an extensive website with pictures that had been photoshopped. They got a lot of people very riled up about wanting to stop this horrible kitten abuse that actually was never happening. It was just a hoax. When young people, or when any of us receive like a Bonsai Kitten email and our friends say, oh my gosh, look at this horrible thing that they're doing to kittens, we need to start a campaign, we need to send in money to get this stopped, you can go to services like Snopes, Urban Legend. These are websites where they have examined all of these email hoaxes that are commonly shared, and they also examine ones that turn out not to be hoaxes. And they'll let you know whether they're true or false, whether it's something you need to pay attention to or not. And so if you get chain letters from people, emails from people saying, gosh, did you hear there's somebody going around gas pumps and stinging people with pins, and the pins are infected with some terrible disease, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I never want to go to another gas pump. Before you stop filling your car up with gas, go to one of the sites like Snopes.com, put in needles at gas pumps, and it will tell you whether that's true or false. The R in smart surfing can stand for restrict, restricting what you share and with whom, and we'll go into that a fair bit more as we talk about disclosure online. And then research. Before you buy something online, be sure to research the seller and make sure that the seller is someone who can be trusted and who has a good reputation. Here are a couple more examples of things that might come across. This is a chain email that people sometimes send. It's been sent to you for good luck. Need to keep sending it on. You need to do it within 96 hours or your luck is going to turn. These are the kinds of emails that you want to talk to young people about and let them know what to do with it, because they may see this and they may think, well, gosh, I better send it on because I certainly want to have good luck. And so they send it on to 15 of their best friends who send it on to their friends, and that's what keeps these kinds of hope. Bad luck is not going to befall them if they just delete an email like that. And here's an example of how you can check out an online seller. If you want to purchase things online, if you go like they actually have seller ratings on there, and you can look up the person from whom you're considering buying something, and it will give you all of these ratings. Did they actually sell the item that they said they were going to sell? Did they ship it quickly? Did they add any extra charges? Are there any comments about this person as a seller? So if you're going to be buying online, it's good to check out who you're buying from. And then the T in smart surfing is setting time limits and remembering that there is life outside of the internet. Again, this is especially important for young people who have grown up in the digital age, and so everything around them is digitalized. They have smartphones, they have iPhones, they have iPods and tablets and computers and laptops and notebooks and video gaming systems, and so it's very easy for those things to take over a person's entire day and a person's entire night sometimes. And so remembering that there is life beyond the internet. Just a few words about cyberbullying, because that's really been in the news lately. There have been a number of young people who have ended their own lives after being cyberbullied extensively. And it's basically any kind of electronic aggression. It can be through email, through instant messages, through texts, through people either posting on social networking sites like Facebook or actually creating entire Facebook pages devoted to saying awful things about somebody else. Cyberbullying can involve teasing or threats or mean tricks or name calling. It can involve stalking. And stalking has become so much easier in the digital age because many young people actually post on, they activate apps like on Facebook that will allow their location to be available to their friends on Facebook. So their friends can go on Facebook and actually look and see where that person is physically. Oh, they're down at the shopping mall. Oh, they're at the movie theater. So it makes stalking much easier. Our phones have GPS in them. We can be tracked down pretty quickly. The internet allows cyberbullying to be very anonymous. You can post things and use a pseudonym, make up a name for yourself, not use a name at all, and hide behind this sort of wall of invisibility that the internet provides. And you can be bullying at any time of the day or night and have a worldwide audience. So those are things that are very different from the bullying that used to happen in the schoolyard, where it was pretty much confined to that individual school or to that individual town. Now it can be spread around the world. Making sure, if you are working with young people, make sure that you're aware of cyberbullying and that if you are a resource young people can turn to for help if they are being bullied, make sure that they know that they can come to you if they need some help. And with that, I'd like to move into disclosure. Disclosure, especially for young people with disabilities, is always a very big issue. It's a big decision to make. And when you add in the immediate access of the online world, it becomes an even more important decision because it's easy to accidentally disclose things online, things that you might never have disclosed in person, but just through chats with your friends, through pictures that you post, through videos that you post, you disclose information without even thinking about it and without realizing that other people might eventually see that information. So disclosure has always been this personal decision, or should be a personal decision, that includes things like, should I disclose information about my disability at all? And if so, to whom? Do I need to share information about my disability with everybody, or just with my employer, or just with the disability services staff at the post-secondary institution I'm going to attend? You know, so making sure that we think about who we're going to share that information with. When do we need to share it? If you're going to be needing accommodations at a job, then disclosing information that relates to the accommodations you're going to need is important. But how much do you want to disclose? Do they need to know absolutely everything about your disability when you are requesting accommodations at that job? Or do they only need to know information that relates directly to the accommodations you're going to be requesting? And what do you want to disclose? So those are all questions that people need to think about before they disclose disability information. And as I said, what sometimes happens online is that people inadvertently disclose. They don't realize that they're putting information out there. And the example that I share on here, this is a Facebook posting for, actually it happens to be my brother, and so I can say that because he's far away and he can't hurt me for sharing this, but it's his 50th birthday. And so his loved ones posted a picture on Facebook for all of his extended network of friends and family and coworkers to see, with the 50 balloons in the background. No problem, right? Everybody wants to wish him a happy birthday. That's great. But the problem might come in if he's out there applying for jobs and he doesn't want the prospective employers to know that he's a bit older applicant. he doesn't want his age to be factored in as part of the employment decision. Well, nowadays, many employers, in fact, one of the books I was recently reading said 70% or more of recruiters admit to Googling people and looking them up on sites like Facebook when somebody applies for a job. So if he's going to go apply for a job and the prospective employers Google him and they find this picture, then boom, already he has disclosed his age, even though he didn't intend to do that. So this is what I mean by unintentional disclosure. It might not be anything that bothers him at all, but he didn't have the chance to, or he didn't take the chance to think it through before this picture was posted. And sometimes we have to disclose information about a disability. As I said before, if you're going to be requesting accommodations on a job, disclosure may be necessary in order to obtain legal protection against discrimination under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Some disclosure may be necessary. If you are going to be customizing employment, it's important as part of the customization process to disclose disability as it relates to the features of the job. So whatever kind of job you're customizing, you're going to be taking into account the person's support needs and how their disability impacts their ability to do that job. And so bits of disclosure might be necessary there. If you're applying for vocational rehabilitation or supplemental security income, other kinds of services and benefits, disclosure of disability to some degree may be necessary in order to qualify for the benefits. But again, you want to think about in every instance, how much information do you want to share about yourself? And when you're out there in cyberspace, when you're working online, that information is shared in all kinds of different ways, through the photos that you and your friends and your family members post, through the videos that people post. You know, one of the things that happens a lot right now, because cell phones take video and photos so quickly and easily, is young people go to parties and they take videos of each other with their cell phones and they post those videos online. And sometimes the videos include things like underage drinking. They might include young people making out with each other, those kinds of things that at the party, at the privacy of the party, seemed okay, but all of a sudden in the light of day, posted on a Facebook page, don't seem so okay anymore. They may seem embarrassing. They may make it difficult for the person to get a job, to get into college, to find a date. So again, thinking about what are the things that we are posting ourselves and that our friends and family members are posting, and what messages do those send. Along those same lines, when you are on a social media site, and I use Facebook a lot just because that's the one I'm the most familiar with, but there are a number of others out there, you can go in and like pages, you can like businesses, those kinds of things. When you like those, then they show up as part of your, they show up on your page, they show up on your news feed, and so you want to think about who you're liking before you like them. Again, you may inadvertently disclose information about yourself that you don't want to disclose just based on the groups or the businesses that you click like next to when you're on Facebook. For example, if you have a hearing impairment and you go and like all the pages that you can find related to services for people with hearing impairments, universities that have exceptionally good hearing services, you know, you click all these things that are related to hearing impairment. If somebody looks at your collection of likes, they could pretty easily deduce that either you or somebody you know or love has a hearing impairment. And maybe you don't care that they know that, but maybe you do. So make a conscious decision before you like things, before you post things, before you share things. And whenever posting something online, no matter whether you're posting it to YouTube or to Pinterest or to Facebook, to Twitter, any of those places, don't post it if you wouldn't want your employer or prospective employer, your family members, a teacher, or your best friend to see it. Because even though you may think you have all of your privacy settings established so that none of those you don't want to see it ever will, you might be very surprised. Someone you've given permission to see a video of you, for example, really likes it, they download it, and they post it on their own site and share it with their whole circle of friends. And somebody in their whole circle of friends who really likes it posts it and shares it with their whole circle of friends. And pretty soon, the information that you thought was going to be just between you and a couple of close friends is out there for the whole world to see. And again, thinking about what would a college admissions officer think if they read these Facebook posts. I have a number of young friends on Facebook who regularly use obscenities when they're posting. Lots of vulgar language, lots of talking about the wild Friday night parties and those kinds of things. And they're not thinking about the fact that, you know, a prospective employer may see that someday and may say, ooh, I don't really know if I want to hire this person. Look at the language that they use, and wow, it seems like they do an awful lot of drinking, and I'm not sure if I really want that sort of attitude in my office or in my place of business. College admissions officer, same thing. Gosh, look at the really sloppy grammar this person is using. And as I'm saying this, you may be thinking, oh, come on, do college admissions officers really have the time to go and check people's Facebook posts? Yes, they do. Things like college admissions are becoming so competitive that when they have to make a final sort and choose between a number of applicants, looking at things like Facebook posts can be one of the ways that they make that final sort. And the other caution for everybody, but especially for young people, because they are just beginning to learn and practice managing the complex emotions of adulthood, is if you're really upset or angry or sad, wait a while before you post something or before you email someone. Because typically the things that we write when we're in the heat of anger are not things that we would like to have shared with the entire world. But once you hit that send button, the possibility for that item to be shared with the entire world is there. So take some time, take some deep breaths, take a little walk before hitting send. And the part that we were hoping Danielle would do today was to visit with you a little bit about the privacy settings on the different social networking sites. And she's a lot more experienced in using those than I am, so I'll just show you a few screen prints. But basically, if you belong to any social networking sites, or if the young people you're working with do, make sure that you know how to find the privacy settings and how to use them, and that you actually pay attention to what the privacy settings are set at, so that the information that you're sharing, at least initially, is somewhat controlled. So here's an example. This is the Facebook sign-in page where you would put in your email or phone and then your password. And remember, as we talked about earlier, to not use your same password for every single thing that you do online, and to not share your password, because otherwise other people can go in under your account and post something and it will look like you posted it. One of the other things that I found pretty common among young people especially is that they go ahead and there's a box you can see on this screen right below email or phone that says keep me logged in. If you click on that box, then you'll always be logged into the Facebook page. So if, let's say, a young lady named Jan decides she's going to click keep me logged in, she has her computer continually logged into Facebook, she leaves for the afternoon and her roommate comes in, her roommate can open up that page, post whatever the heck she wants, and it will go up as if Jan had posted it because it's on Jan's Facebook page. And maybe it's not something I want to post on there, but boom, it's there. So pay attention to whether that keep me logged in box is checked or not. For people who use Facebook, there's an area called apps, and there are all different kinds of apps or applications that you can click on to have added to your Facebook account. Take a look at what you have in there if you're using Facebook or if you're using any of the other social networking sites. Make sure they're things that you actually want and need, because all of these different apps track information about you and they all make it available to other people. Generally, you get to decide who has access to that information, like Family Tree, for example, would be other people who are part of your family or who you say are part of your family. But still, the more apps that you have out there, the more your information is being shared or could be shared with other people. So So pay attention to what you have for apps and whether you really want or need them. And then privacy settings are up under the Home tab, at least on Facebook. And that's where you can go in and control who gets to see what you're posting, who gets to post to your page, etc. But again, remember that just because you have the privacy settings established the way you want them, it doesn't mean that those are the only people who will actually see your information. Because if you send something and one of your friends really likes it, remember that they could go ahead and share it with their friends, who share it with their friends, who share it with their friends. So it's not a guarantee that just because you have your privacy settings where you want them to be, those are going to be the only people who see your information. Tying that back to disclosure again then, remember that even if you're posting information that could disclose information about your disability, and you're okay with that because you think only your close friends are seeing, remember that it may go beyond your close friends at some point. So you want that information out there. Just a few more tips for you. We've already covered some of these. Checking your approved apps if you use any social media accounts. Filtering your news feed so you only see the stuff you want to see. Again, that's related to social media. And managing your privacy settings. If you use a MySpace or Facebook or Google Plus account, be careful about who you friend. Do you really want that person reading about your life and your friend's life and your friends' lives and your family members' lives? And think twice if you are at a job about friending people at work, because you're going to have then this sort of crossover of information that you want shared with your friends, information that you want shared with your coworkers. You can go in and set privacy settings to do that, but if you haven't already set those privacy settings, anything you put out there will be available to those friends at your work, and you want it to be. Don't overshare, and that's a good one for all of us. Make sure that you have secure passwords. And I mentioned the problems with social networking sites that track you or that transmit where your location is. It makes it very easy for people who don't have the best intentions to track down where you are. And young people especially like those apps because if they're going to meet up together, it's easy to say, okay, I can just go look at Facebook. Oh, great, she's down at the movie theater, so that's where I need to go meet her. It makes it very easy to connect, which young people want to do. But it also makes it very easy for people who have bad intentions to find you. And then the most important, I think, of all is that once you share something online, it's up there forever. And I understood that clearly from your answer to the first poll, or to the second poll, I'm sorry. Permanent really does mean permanent on the internet. Digital storage nowadays is so inexpensive that information that's going online, much of it is being saved forever. It's very cheap to store it. And so the companies that house the digital storage companies no longer need to routinely purge all that information that's out there, so it just gets stored. So the stuff that you think you've deleted, it's still out there somewhere. You may not be able to see it anymore, but it's still archived, it's still stored somewhere. And again, if let's say that you post a video clip that you think is really funny, and after you post it, you think, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have posted that. That could be really offensive to some people. I better take it down, and you delete it, and you think it's gone. Great. Well, in the 2 minutes that it took you to decide that you didn't really want it posted, your friends saw it and thought it was really funny. And so they went ahead and shared it or downloaded it or posted it on their own walls. And even though you've deleted it from your page, it doesn't go away from them or from the people they've shared it with. So before you ever post it, think about it. And it's something to really encourage the young people you're working with to do, to take the time and think about what they're putting out there. The other piece of advice that can be helpful is to go ahead and do a Google search or a Yahoo search or a Bing search of your name to see what kind of information is out there about yourself. You might be surprised at the amount of information that's cataloged about you. And that all becomes part of this online reputation that's going to follow you forever and can impact who hires you, what universities will allow you to attend their academic institution, who wants to go on dates with you, all of those things. And so it's important to be thinking about this ahead of time. And from the disclosure aspect, it's important to think about, am I posting things that disclose my disability when I don't want or need to disclose it? Just waiting for my screen to unlock here. Okay, so here are a few different resources if you're interested. If you go online and Google Internet Safety Curriculum or anything along those lines, you'll find that there are lots of different bits of information out there. So here are just a few. And the PowerPoint for today's webinar, we will be saving it as a PDF file and posting it onto our website and onto the Online Transition Toolbox website. And so you'll have these URLs available to you once we get that posted. But here are just a few resources that you might be interested in taking a look at. And then the archives from today's presentation, and again those will include those resources you just saw, will be posted on these two sites. And with that, I'm going to wrap up my part of the presentation and turn it over to Isaac. It'll take just a minute here. Okay. So I'll give him just a minute to get his screen set up, but I would like to introduce to you Isaac Baldry again, and he is one of the Rural Institute Consumer Advisory Council members, and we are delighted to have him presenting today. Isaac, we're not hearing you yet. Maybe we're not supposed to yet.
Isaac was having a technical difficulty of still being muted. We'll try that again.
Okay.
My apologies.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Isaac Baldry. One of the things I like to use the internet for on a daily basis is to do my readings. I like to be able to go out and catch up on the news. I go to the Billings Gazette online edition to read about the news in my area. I can do this two ways on my iPad. I have the Billings Gazette app. Clicking it open allows me to access the digital app version of the Gazette. I also can access the Billings Gazette through the internet with Safari. If I am in Safari, I can use the reader in the web address to open a text version of the article if it is available. Then I use the speech selection setting within an iPad. This setting can be turned off and on within the accessibility features in the general settings. I have mine set to also highlight words it is reading out loud. On my laptop computer, I go to the Gazette through my soft program called Win. Win allows me to hear the Gazette by just clicking the read key. I have other places I like to do daily readings. I find these websites through the bookmark tool. This is a picture of where you find websites you have bookmarked. The next slide shows you how to bookmark the page. You can see a little square with an arrow out, which gives you options. One being to bookmark. Another option is to send the web page to your home screen. I did this on my iPad for the Montana Road Report conditions. I like to be able to quickly check road conditions without even launching Safari. I have added email accounts based on what I use them for. I actually have 3 accounts, but I use 2 accounts on my iPad. I use my Gmail account to keep up with friends and to keep track of work. I use my MSN account for when I do online shopping, or if I have to sign up for something and they need an email address, then that is where my junk mail goes. Right now I have Amazon, iTunes, and Walmart all linked to my MSN account. You need to be careful when you are shopping online. I do a couple different things to help me stay safe when I'm shopping. Here is a shopping example from Walmart. The piece I want you to notice is up on the tab for the web address. There is a little lock. That lock lets you know you are in a secure website. Never go shopping if it's not a secure website. When I am shopping online, I have options for ways I can pay for things. I do different things based on different websites. Walmart and Amazon, I have an account. On this page, you can see my shopping cart at Walmart. I could choose to apply a gift card. You can see I only have $2.75 left on my current gift card. I could add a gift card, or choose another option. I also have a preferred credit card linked to this account to use if I choose. I never use my debit card. You can't dispute charges on a debit card. I will probably be taking the credit card off of my account. I have a way that I prefer to use credit cards or my checking account. I can use PayPal and then sign into my PayPal account. When I have signed into PayPal, it allows me to choose which way I want to pay, with a credit card or with my checking account. Recently I learned I can do something new with PayPal. My brother was about 400 miles away and needed money quick. He doesn't have a credit card, and as it was a Saturday, the banks here in Miles City were closed. I could use PayPal and send money from one of my accounts to someone else's email address. So if I needed to send someone money or pay someone back for something, I could use PayPal and email them the money. He can pay me back the same way. For lots of things you do online, you need a login or a username and password. Don't use the same username and password over and over. I have different usernames and passwords for different accounts. That can get hard to keep track of. I have a list where I have the website written down, as well as the login name and password. For most websites, if you can remember either your login or your password, they will send you the piece you have forgotten to the email address identified with that account. I have a Facebook account. I like to check it and see what my friends are up to. I also share information about me on my Facebook. Sometimes you get friend requests from people you don't know. This is an example of a friend request I had. If I know who they are, I might accept right away, or if I told someone to connect with me on Facebook, I accept them as a friend right away. If I don't recognize the name or don't know who they are, I go to their Facebook page to check them out. You can also check what friends you have in common with the person asking to be your friend. Lastly, if I don't know who they are and I don't have mutual friends with them that I feel comfortable with, I will ask someone in my family to help me decide if I should accept the friend request. You don't have to accept every request you get. You should decide who you want to see information from, and who you want to see information about you. They should be friends.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Great information. You should see in front of you again the two URLs or website addresses for where today's presentation will be archived. And I understand from looking at the comments that there have been a lot of problems with the audio, at least when I was presenting, and I apologize for that. We've had technical troubles the last couple webinars, and I'm not sure what's going on. We thought we had them corrected for today, but apparently they're continuing. So I'll be contacting our provider and see what we can do about that. If you have questions about pieces of my presentation that you missed because you weren't able to hear them, or I was cutting out, or I guess I slowed way down at one point, and that had nothing to do with how much coffee I had consumed. It was an audio problem. Feel free to ask during the question and answer time. And because we're missing one of our presenters today, we are actually finished with our part of the presentation, and we'll open it up to any questions that any of you might have for Isaac or for me. You can you can type your questions in on the chat box if you'd like, or you can try raising your hand, although, as I mentioned before, we generally don't have the best luck with getting people's voices unmuted, or getting their lines unmuted. So let's see if we've had any questions come in thus far. Just comments about the voice problems, and again, I apologize for that. If there were specific pieces that you missed or slides that you want me to go over again, type that into the chat box and I can do that. Questions from anyone about disclosure on the internet, about ways to keep yourself or other people safe? Questions about how you might use today's information in your job or in your home life? Okay, you can't see the archive sites. Okay. The first is the question that came in, I apologize, was what are the archive sites for people who are not able to see them? And let me shrink that if that'll help. There we go. The first is the Rural Institute Transition and Employment Projects website. So an easy way to get there is to Google Rural Institute or University of Montana Rural Institute, and then under projects you can click on transition, and it will take you to the Transition and Employment Projects website. And on the left-hand side of that page, there's a button that says training. And if you click on that, it will take you to the page that will have the recording for today's session along with the PDF version of the PowerPoint. And you can download that and have the information. So I'll read you the URL in case that helps. It's http://ruralinstitute, that's all one word, .u, M as in Mary, T as in Tom, .edu /transition/training calend, so training and CALEND .ASP. And then the Pluck Rural Institute Online Transition Toolbox, the easiest way to get there is to just Google Pluck, P-L-U-K, And if you go down to the bottom of that page, you'll see Online Transition Toolbox, and you can click on that. Other questions? Okay, I have some closing information I'll share with you, and then if you do have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in. Just a reminder that when you sign out of today's session, a little survey with, I think, 8 questions will pop up, and please do take time to answer those questions. The information is very helpful to us. And the next webinar is called It's All in the Translation, Translating Student Skills into Possible Job Tasks. And that will take place on Tuesday, May 21st from 1 until 2:30 Mountain Time. The flyer for that will be going out in the next couple of days. So be watching for that, and Ellen Condon, who is the director of the Rural Institute Transition and Employment Projects, will be the presenter for that webinar. So we invite you to sign up and attend that one. A reminder that the recording from today's session will be posted to both of those websites. The addresses should be up on the screen for you to see. We did have a question that came in that said there are several antivirus programs. Are there some that have been more effective? Isaac, do you have a preference of antivirus programs? I think you still might be muted.
Sorry, we had to get unmuted. And
Okay.
Isaac runs Microsoft Security Essentials.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I had AVG on my home computer and just switched to Microsoft Security Essentials as well for a variety of different reasons. Our work computers all run Symantec, so part of it depends on what you're looking for, how much you have to spend. Do a bit of research before you select one of the antivirus programs. And you can go online and Google them, or use Bing or Yahoo or one of the other search engines and read reviews to find out what the pros and cons of the different antivirus packages are. The key, I think, is to make sure that you have something on there and to make sure that it's regularly updated, because there are new viruses showing up every single day. And so if your antivirus files are even 2 days old and you log onto the internet today, you can get a new virus. Speaking from experience, because it just happened up here. So, Isaac, you're laughing because yours is always up to date, right? You wouldn't let that happen. Any other questions? A question came in that for Isaac, but I don't know if he wants to answer this publicly. Except you sent it to the whole audience, so I guess we'll have to read it. Isaac, Ellen wants to know, did you really pay $79 for a blow-up Santa Claus?
No.
Okay. Well, if there are no further questions, I apologize again for the audio difficulties today. I don't know what happened there, but we will try and get it corrected before our May 21st session. I really would like to thank Isaac for his fantastic information. We really enjoy having him present. He always has great information, and I always learn something new from him. And we'd like to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy day to attend the session. We hope you have a great rest of the day, and we hope that you learned something new about disclosure and about internet safety and about smart sharing and surfing. The little SMART acronym handout will also be posted on our website along with the PowerPoint and the audio recording from today. Have a great rest of the afternoon, everyone, and thanks again.